Many people tend to evaluate events that do not correspond to their plans and the usual picture of the world as an obstacle that prevents achieving the goal. In turn, people who practice positive thinking in such situations see the problem as an opportunity on the road to success, not an obstacle. Thus, positive thinking is the ability to evaluate life not from the point of view of problems, but from the position of a series of successful coincidences that inevitably lead to improvements. A person involuntarily falls into a whirlpool of negative emotions and thoughts in the modern world, filled with alarming information, high turbulence with economic crises, natural disasters, and pandemics. Therefore, nowadays, in the face of the spread of a pandemic, positive thinking is essential since this will allow one to be less irritated and constantly radiate inner harmony and success. A positive attitude becomes the cause of positive emotions, including joy, love, and happiness. A positive-minded person has better relationships with family, friends, and society in general. Moreover, it is an opportunity to get rid of fears and doubts and to increase stress resistance. If you regularly practice positive thinking, you can get rid of many diseases caused by negative attitudes. Furthermore, optimists have been proven to live longer. People who have a positive outlook and attitude are more productive in their work. They can find constructive ways to solve problem situations, be ready to give and receive support, be grateful, and know how to cooperate with other people. The environment shapes the worldview and spiritual aspirations of each person. An optimistic society charged with cheerfulness and love of life encourages people to reach new heights and inspires experiments and creativity. Pessimistic society, on the contrary, discourages any desire to change anything in their lives. A critical mood-creating agent is the media, which, while transmitting patterns of behavior of the population in some regions, automatically create these patterns in others. For example, information has been circulating on the internet for a year that ivermectin is effective for the treatment or prevention of coronavirus. Although United States, United Kingdom, and Europe health authorities have found insufficient evidence of the drug's use for COVID-19, thousands of supporters continue to campaign for its use. Forcing the situation creates panic, fear, isolation, and uncertainty contributes to the emergence of stress, a drop in immunity, and health problems. Nevertheless, although a person has no power to change the situation in the world, one can change their attitude towards this. It is essential to understand that any destruction leads to new opportunities. Voice and manner of speaking contain preliminary information about the communication partner. By the volume of speech, its speed, clarity, voice pitch, and color of its sound, one can understand the inner state of the interlocutor. Speech is vital for forming a worldview, therefore, a person's mood depends on what emotions they will be saturated with. People who hear a rough or tired voice perceive the speaker negatively as weak, passive, or tense. In turn, speakers with uplifting voices appear to be successful, pleasant, and intelligent. The peculiarity of positive speech is that it is unambiguous, goal-oriented, and therefore successful. It makes a good impression on all its participants and creates clarity, independence, and mutual respect. In this way, everything people say reflects what they think and how they think. As for me, I try to be guided by the principles of positive thinking, although this was not always the case. Routine activities, the need to study and carry out household chores were a burden on my nervous system and did not allow me breathing deeply. But the fact was that it was not problems and obligations that pressed on me, but I perceived it that way. I drove myself into the framework of monotony and routine. Nevertheless, now I start my day with a smile and the affirmation that today is the best day of my life. I tried to find any excuse for joy, be it a high score, good music, or just sunny weather. Of course, at first, I had to force myself to think about the good, but every day this tension decreased, and soon I began to see the good automatically. I became a glass-half-full person, who, according to Johnstone, always thinks that good things will happen. Now, if some failure occurs in my life, I do not dwell on the negative but try to transform it into a helpful experience that brings me new knowledge and makes me stronger. Therefore, positive thinking does not mean completely ignoring failures and adverse events. After all, this is an experience that will allow one not to make mistakes in the future. People who think positively will also be upset but quickly come to their senses, perceive the event as an experience, and move on. In current conditions, when many adverse events occur in the world, it is crucial to maintain the ability to think positively to achieve success in life. StudyCorgi.com has everything you need for successful studies. Writing tools, informative articles, and essay samples. Come check it out!